All right, next day, you can see, put that plastic over the mud. You can see all the water that collected on that. That really allows it to dry really hard because that moisture hydrates it overnight. Today I'm gonna do a fabric membrane on the pans, liquid membrane on the walls. That's my preference. A lot of the reason is based on sequencing. I can't do a liquid over this mud for 3 days, so I can do a fabric on it immediately. I like to do liquid on the walls. In a perfect world, I'd do liquid on everything, but I just don't have time to wait 3 days for that to dry to do liquid on it. It's just a more efficient way. There's a lot of ways to do this, so I probably won't go into a ton of depth on this process, but maybe I'll share a few of my opinions about things. Anyway. Alright, we're doing a little bit of scraping, vacuum that, get rid of any grains or pebbles because you don't want those piercing your sheet membrane. Like I said, I'll use sheet membrane here. I love to do a full liquid membrane. I think it's just extremely nice to set over. I love having a monolithic, coating, color. It's pretty, it's clean, super nice to work over. It works great if you do it right. But I also like to use a sheet membrane because it's quick. It's a one-time thing. I don't have to do multiple coats. I don't love putting sheet membrane over mud walls. It's kind of a pain, and I can achieve just as good of a product with a liquid. Takes a couple more coats, but I much prefer to work over that. So that's what I'm going to do today. All right, I'm installing my membrane with Rapid Set Thin Set. That is so I can get on it in a little while and work on the walls. So every manufacturer has a good product right now. They're all good, they all work if you do them right. I'm using the FlowFX membrane. I love Chase, the owner, and his company. I love what they're doing. It's a great product. I used Curdy for a lot of years. That's a great product. Mapei WP200 is awesome. I really loved the USG Duroc membrane for a few years there, but they discontinued that. This one is probably the most similar to that. I'm not going to really go into detail on how to install this stuff. Everybody and their dog has a video about that. So if you are interested in learning that, just Google it. You will find tons of videos. Most important thing about membranes is that they're done correctly. Done correctly, they will all work. All good companies, good products, just do it right. Okay, liquid waterproofing membranes. I love installing and working over these. They're very versatile. They're great, amazing products. The technology nowadays is awesome. I've got probably, who knows, hundreds of mud showers with Aqua Defense over them. I love it, I trust it, but I've learned how to use it correctly. Get the right thickness. I think the main issue with these is people are either putting them on too thin, way too thick, and not letting it dry enough before the second coat. Or, who knows what else. But I think those are the main issues. You really got to learn how to use these, do your research, talk to a rep, go to training. If you do it right, they're amazing. I like to use the reinforcing fabric in the corners on most scenarios. It's not required. I recommend it. They're great products. We even did a koi pond with one a few years back, if you saw that project. I totally trust it. Awesome product. Learn how to do it right. Okay, a little bit more about using liquid waterproofing membranes correctly. In 2006, I did my first liquid membrane shower. PVC pan, liquid on the walls and bench, a big 4x15 shower in a nice home in the River Bottoms in Provo. I didn't know how to really use it. I was just kind of going off something I had heard. I did probably 2 thin coats. Fast forward 4 years, the clients call me, it's been leaking. The bench is completely deteriorated, moldy, falling apart. Largest mushroom patch I've seen in the wild in the crawl space underneath the shower. I fixed it. It was very expensive, very time consuming, very embarrassing and humbling. It could have cost me my reputation had I not handled it differently, but I did. Fortunately, the clients were understanding, and I've since gone down the rabbit hole on learning about waterproofing. That's why I'm so OCD about it. Do your research, learn how to use it. Don't grow mushrooms in your crawl space. All right, so liquids obviously are going to behave differently over different substrates. Mud will suck this dry quite a bit quicker than, say, a foam board or den shield. So be wary of that. It just takes kind of practice to get a feel for it. I like to get a lot on that roller, prime that roller, get a ton on there. Don't be skimpy, okay? Squish it in really good. Burn it into that mud. Get a little more. I'm trying to do this one-handed, so it's not very graceful. I get a nice thick layer on there. Okay, and then I take my fabric and embed that in there. So the fabric helps act as a thickness gauge too. Take a bunch more. Get it on there nice and thick. You can see I put a nice thick coat on there, embedded that fabric into it, pressed it in with my blade, and then you just do another thick coat. And by thick, I mean, you really need to get a feel for it. So they sell a wet film thickness gauge that you can buy. And I used one for a long time when I was learning this. Now I've kind of got it down to where I know how thick I'm putting it on. I highly recommend getting one of those if you're going to do liquid membranes until you get a feel for how much you need to do. And I don't want it too thick. I don't want blobs in the corners. If it's too thick, that surface will skim over, leaving the underneath layer undried. And then as that gets wet, it can actually re-emulsify. And I learned that the hard way also. Just a smooth, consistent coat, kind of thick, not too thick. Use a gauge at first. There's been some controversy over the years in like tile forums, tile groups, whatever, about doing what some call a hybrid shower, mixing a liquid membrane and a fabric membrane. Most manufacturers won't get behind this, and I don't blame them. It's simply because there's too many different combinations out there that could happen. Too much room for, user error. So they just take the stance that no, don't do it. It absolutely works if you know the limitations of each product, know how to do it correctly. Some companies have systems that mix liquids and fabrics, and they back those. I don't worry a ton about a manufacturer warranty. I respect the hell out of a lot of these companies, but I just rely on my own research, my own experience. You got to figure it out for yourselves. Don't take my word for it. Just do it right, and it works. So I've got all my banding done and kind of my edges rolled. You can see it's drying out really fast over the mud, but where the banding is, that's going to take quite a bit longer to dry out because it's really thick in there. You could do another coat over this in a couple of hours. Mapei says you can coat it in 2 hours. I would not recoat this until tomorrow. If I were to coat this again later today, that top layer would dry, but those corners would remain wet and it would leave a soft spot in there, and that can re-emulsify when it gets wet. I know that from experience. You don't really need to waterproof that high up necessarily if it's not a steamer, but I do it because I like to work over the surface. It gives it a nice, smooth, consistent surface to work over, and it's pretty. And honestly, I just love the color of this. It's soothing to me, it's relaxing. The day Mapei changed from dark green to light green was seriously one of the greatest days of my life, and I mean that sincerely. I love it. Okay, my edges and banding are all done. I've got my curved fabrics and coated. So I'm gonna do the walls. I use a 3/4 inch nap roller, and I get a shitload of material on there. Like, fill that thing up, and I'm gonna put it on just like that. I'm only gonna do about 4 square feet with one roller full. If you're trying to do more than that, you're getting it too thin, okay? Don't squish it hard on there. This isn't paint. We're not trying to cover a whole room. 4 or 5 square feet, refill it. Just put it on there nice and thick, smooth it out, and all those little holes and stuff will fill in with the second coat. So I'm gonna go do the other shower. I'll do a second coat on all this tomorrow. Hopefully this is helpful to someone. This is my way. Doesn't have to be your way. Do your research, figure it out, practice. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. So when I'm meeting with a potential client and trying to sell a job, I don't focus a lot on materials. I focus on the process and about how much work I put into it and how much I care about what I do. I'm not selling you an Aqua Defense flow effect shower. I'm selling you a one-of-a-kind, built with love, artisan-built, handcrafted piece of artwork, a Tarkus tile shower. That's my brand, that's my product, and that's what I'm trying to sell. And I've been pretty successful, I think, with that approach. I just be sincere, I put my heart into it, I show how much I care, and then I show up and I just do what I do. And I think it's important to focus on you and your brand and your product and not give all the credit to the manufacturers of these products. They are definitely an integral part, but they are not the heart of what we're doing here. It's our work, it's our product, sell it as such. Okay, today I'll put a second coat on all of this and then it will be tile ready. If it was a steam shower, I would do 3 coats. So this obviously is not the fastest way to build a shower. I'm at 7 days basically for 2 showers. Framing, lath, scratch coat, brown coat, mud pan, waterproofing. That's fine, that's a good pace for me. I don't need to be any faster than that for the jobs I'm doing. That's not really the market I'm after. I'm trying to sell a handcrafted, custom built shower. Nothing wrong with the other ways. There's a place for everything. This is kind of the Tarkus tile way. This is how I like to do it. These are the jobs that I pursue, the jobs that I want to do where I can take the time to do it like this and build your own brand. Find what you want to do, what kind of business you want to be, what kind of work you want to do. Market yourself as such, do it your way, and you'll be successful. You can see I did this waterproofing yesterday, 18 hours ago. I always check the corners. That corner needs to be dry and hard. If you poke that and it's at all squishy or it's still light colored, don't put another coat over it. In fact, I would recommend slicing it open with a knife until it dries out. If you recoat an area that isn't fully dry, you're gonna create a problem down the road. So once you figure out the right thickness to do things, you'll rarely have an issue with that as long as you let it dry long enough. So this dried overnight. I'm comfortable to put another coat on it. So I will do another thick coat today. It will fill in all these little holes in my mud. It's gonna make a nice, thick, solid, monolithic membrane that is just so nice to work over. I love troweling over it, snapping lines over it. It's just pleasant to work over. Okay, so here's how I did my curb on this one. And I don't do it the same way every time. So I've got the preformed Flow FX corners on all of these, so I didn't really need to liquid down onto the floor. I was kind of just burning up some material over there yesterday. I don't love the outside corners. If I'm doing a big, large format tile, I'm not really worried about the buildup. But with small tiles, I hate the buildup of that outside corner. That's why I like the liquid here. So I've wrapped that with a few pieces of fabric, and it's substantially thinner than a membrane corner would be. And I've wrapped fabric and Aqua D up over that curb. But again, I don't need it on the floor here. That is all seamed with the banding in the corners. Build up, it's something you just learn to live with. Like I said, some tiles, the buildup isn't an issue. Small format tiles, I do not like it. That's one of the reasons I switched to liquid years ago. Anyway. Another way to tell if you're getting it on thick enough. So a 5-gallon bucket says approximate coverage 300 square feet. I've got about 200 square feet of walls that I've coated. I have used half of another bucket, well, half of this bucket and another half bucket. So I've used about 5 gallons on 200 square feet. So I know that I'm well above the required thickness. If you've got a 300 square foot shower and you finish it and you've got a bunch left over in your bucket, it's not on there thick enough. And that's exactly what happened to me with a different product on the shower that I talked about yesterday that failed. I remember thinking, wow, this stuff just goes forever. I finished that huge shower, had a bunch left over, and I was excited because I could do another shower with it. Well, lo and behold, it's because I didn't put it on thick enough. So read the instructions. It's supposed to be 20 mils thick. That's as thick as a credit card. Do a couple of tests in your shop or whatever. Compare it to your credit card. Do it right. All right, this might be a little bit controversial, but I'm not going to flood test this shower. I'm confident in the way I did it. I'm confident in the products. I know that I did it right, and I know that it won't leak. A 24-hour flood test is great. Sometimes it's required, gives you a warm fuzzy. Unless you have a catastrophic failure, a 24-hour flood test probably isn't going to tell you that there's a pinhole leak somewhere. If you have a tiny pinhole back in that corner and you do a 24-hour flood test and there's no crawl space to look underneath it, how are you going to know if it leaked very slowly overnight? You're probably not. I'm not saying don't do one. I flood test a lot of our showers. A lot of the times it's required. I'm not going to flood test this one because I want to get tiling it today. My clients are watching these videos. They trust me. I trust the process. I know it's not going to leak. So take that for what it's worth.